Hey, fifth grade. Today for writing workshop, we're going to continue our work on our free verse poem. So previously we pre-wrote and we added ideas to an idea web for our first free verse poem. And we got the idea or the topic for that poem from our heart map. Then yesterday you created draft 1 of that poem. So you took those ideas from that web and you actually crafted those ideas into lines and stanzas in a free verse poem. Today we're going to be revising that draft. And before we get started, I want you to be aware of a few things. The act of revision is not checking for spelling. It's not checking for punctuation. It's not checking for any of those things that there are rules about. Revision, and we're actually studying Greek and Latin roots and affixes. So revision, if we break that word into word parts, we have the prefix re, which means again, and then we're left with vision, which means to look at. If we put those together, it means to look at again. And that's what the step of revision essentially is. You've written that poem. It's your first attempt at getting those ideas down on paper or onto a doc. And so now we're going to look at it again and we're going to make it better. And it's very tempting for fifth graders and writers alike to go, no, I like it exactly the way it is, and just be done with that. But we know that good writers don't operate that way. We need to be super critical of ourselves when we're reading through our draft 1, because we've read quite a few poems at this point this year. And so we know what good poetry looks like, and that's the kind of poetry that we should be creating. So if it doesn't look and sound like the poems that we've read, well, then we need to make it look and sound like the poems that we've read. And you can do that in the step of revision. So I'm going to jump in here, and I will be working out of 2 different assignments here because the draft was attached to yesterday's assignment, but we're going to need to make a copy of it and track our changes in order to revise. I'm going to walk you through that process in this video, but I kind of want to go over these directions. So obviously you're watching the attached video lesson. You're going to make a copy of your draft 1, the poem that you wrote yesterday, and you're going to name it Revision of D1. Then you're going to turn on suggesting mode and begin revising. Then you'll use the add or create button in this assignment. So when I view this assignment, you can see that my work goes over here. I didn't create a doc for you guys because I didn't think you would want to retype everything that you did yesterday. So instead, we're going to make a copy, and we're just going to attach that copy here, and we're going to pull it from your drive. But I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to go back to where we were, and I'm going to open draft 1. And I'm going to open the poem that I created yesterday. So here is my first draft of the poem I called My Dog Albus. So first I have to make a copy of this poem. So I'm going to go over here to File, and I'm going to click Make a Copy. Now, this next part is really important, especially when you need to find your document. What you name it is important. So I want to keep it in my ELA folder because that's a folder that's linked to my classroom. And so if I ever need to find something that I did within classroom, it's going to be in there. So I don't want to change the folder, but I do want to change the name of this document. So I'm going to call it Revision of D1. That's what I'm going to call it right now. I'm also going to put My Dog Albus because I will be creating more poems throughout the quarter and throughout the year. And so I don't want to get it mixed up with other revisions because I will revise for every poem I write. So I'm going to say okay. And now up here, I have my document, and then I have the assignment, the document that I started with. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. And then I'm going to go back into my classroom page. Now, I'm done with this assignment. I just needed to go in and make a copy of that doc, and I've already done that, and it's up here in my tab. I'm just going to keep it there so I can remember what I called it, and then I'm going to jump back into this assignment. I'm going to click View Assignment. If you guys haven't been doing that, you probably have missed out on a lot of work that you have missing, because it's the only way to get all of the instructions and then take you to your work. So now, before I start revising, I want to go ahead and add that here from my Google Drive because I don't want to take any chances of losing it. And the cool thing about this is it takes me to my recent document. So because I was just in it, I just have to select it and say insert, and now it's already there. Now I'm not finished because I actually have to go in and do the work. So I'm going to click here, and now I can take a second look at it. I am going to make a few changes before I even start. I'm going to change the date because this helps me keep track of my the growth of my piece. I'll be able to show that I have put in a lot of work and I have made a lot of changes, and it'll show how quickly I'm progressing through a piece. So I'm going to change the date, and today is the 6th. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add revision of D1.
Mr. Raleigh, page the office, please. Mr. Raleigh, page the office, please.
Do you guys feel like you're in school now that that announcement was made? Anyway, I'm going to jump back down here now. And before I do anything else, over here at the top right, there is a little pencil and it says editing mode. I want to change this. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to suggesting, because you want to show me the changes that you have made from draft 1 through this revision process. That's what I'm going to be grading you on. If you just deleted it, I would have to pull up both documents and I'd have to look at both very, very carefully. By going into suggesting mode, it's going to track all of your changes. It's going to show you what was there originally and then what changes you made. And it's going to help me see that you really, really have taken a close second look at this piece of writing. And it's also going to help you when you're evaluating yourself in the area of writing workshop and deciding where you're at with that. So I'm going to move my window over here, and I'm going to start suggesting. So I don't want to mess with my title right now. I want to get to the meat of my poem, and then I'll take a look at that later. I could even wait until draft 3 to do that. It's kind of when inspiration strikes, but I don't feel like I could really craft a good title at this point because I haven't really crafted the poem yet. So I'm going to read this whole thing out loud, and then I'm going to go in and make changes where I think I need to make changes. Be more specific, cut things that I don't think I need there. Remember, I am not focusing on spelling. I'm not focusing on punctuation. All I'm working on right now is, did I say what I wanted to say the way that I wanted to say it? Do I need to move some things around because it's a little confusing? Do I need to add more details because it's too general? The reader can't see or understand what I'm trying to describe. So I'm going to read it out loud and then we'll jump right in. I have a furry friend. His name is Albus, named after the greatest headmaster Hogwarts has ever known. He is a schnauzer, but mini. His markings gray and white. His appearance and attitude are a contradiction. Grouchy, he is not. Emma is his owner, though the two are very different. Albus is the rebel, Emma the rule follower through and through. His rebellious antics and unconditional love are a welcoming greeting after a long day of school. Now, if you remember my idea web, I did not use all the ideas in my idea web in my poem because as I started writing, I wanted to go a different direction. That's perfectly fine. And that's perfectly fine. That's how the creative process works. So if you did the same, totally fine. So it's still not great. I want to point out a few things that I was trying to do. I was trying to create a form and then kind of stick to it. So every single stanza has 3 lines. The first 2 lines are pretty short, and then the last one is a little bit longer and it provides a little more of an explanation. By doing this short, short, long in each stanza, it kind of creates a rhythm or a flow when it's read aloud. But I feel like I've been awfully wordy in this poem because poetry is a very concise genre. We don't have to hit our readers over the head with every single detail. We can give them credit, kind of like what we've been learning when we've been analyzing poetry, that you can just give them a concrete object and let their mind or imagination do the rest. Well, I have definitely been too wordy. So I am going to change this first line, and I want it to say, my sweet furry friend. And you can see that when I started typing, it still shows what was there before, but it has a line through it. And then, excuse me, then you can see what I added. And then over here to the right, it inserts a comment and it tells what I did. That I replaced, I have a furry friend with my sweet furry friend. Okay, I don't want you to hit a check mark or an X. This is going to be what jumps out at me, your teacher, when I go in to see what revisions you made. So you want to leave it just like that. I'm going to move on to revising my next line. And I don't think I need to say his name is Albus. I think that I can just say Albus. So I'm going to delete that. And then I don't think I need these words either, named after. I think that if people know about Albus or that name, they're going to know that it came from Hogwarts. So I don't think I need those words. It feels like I'm saying he and his a lot. So I'm just going to take that out. His markings, gray and white. I don't think I need his markings. I think you figure out that I'm describing the dog and that he's gray and white. So I'm going to take that out also. I'm going to take out his and hit delete. And then as I read this, appearance and attitude are a contradiction. And what I'm trying to say there is that he looks like a grouchy old man, but he is not grouchy at all. And I like that. And it's important to understand Albus's character and his disposition. But I feel like I need to kind of break it down into 2 stanzas just because I didn't like the way it read when I read it out loud. So I'm going to hit the enter key here and it's going to create a 4th line. Now, I was trying to stick to a form, but content is always more important than form. So if it sounds better and it makes a better point, then I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice the form for that. Emma is his owner. Well, I got to thinking about this. You guys know that he is Emma's dog because I've talked about it, and you know that Emma is my daughter, but I just don't like the way that it reads. So instead, I'm going to say something like, I didn't like this stanza very much at all. So I'm going to say polar opposite to his owner. And then I'm going to, instead of saying that they're different, I mean, because that's implied by saying that they're polar opposites, I'm going to say, I'm going to take what I put in the last line and I'm going to break it into two. So I'm going to say, one, a rebel. And then I'm going to say the other, a rule follower through and through. And then I'm just going to take out his. And then I'm also going to take out R because I don't think that I need it. So now if I reread this out loud and I just read the parts that are still there or that I've added, it reads like this. My sweet furry friend, Albus, the greatest headmaster Hogwarts has ever known. A schnauzer but many, gray and white. Appearance and attitude are a contradiction. Grouchy, he is not. Polar opposite to his owner, one a rebel, the other a rule follower through and through. Rebellious antics and unconditional love, a welcome greeting after a long day of school. I'm okay with it. I don't love it right now, but my brain is kind of fried. So I'm going to do what we call the 2-day walk away rule, and you guys are going to do this too. So you're going to work hard on making these revisions today, and then you're not going to touch it for the rest of today. And then I guess it won't be a 2-day walk away rule. It'll be a 1-day walk away rule. We're not going to mess with this tomorrow. We're going to leave it alone, and then we'll go back in and we'll take a look at it again and see if there's anything else that needs done. But for today, we are done. And so I'm going to go back to the assignment. And because I already attached it to my work, I'm going to just hit the turn in button. And then I'm going to say, yes, I want to turn that in. And then I will be able to see your revisions and where you started and then kind of where you got to after you took a second look. So I hope this video helped explain what revision is. I hope you were able to do this easily. If not, send me a message, ask for a meet, whatever you need to do, and I can walk you through that process. I hope you guys are well. I love and miss you, and I cannot wait to see you.